Babe.
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 Babe. I'm Lara.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is...
Babe. Hi. This is a supersized episode of Babe.
Yeah, this is extra special.
Yeah.
There's lots of things happening.
There's a lot of changes.
There's a lot of changes taking place. Number one, we're in Ryan's apartment.
Yeah.
Which is new. Which is a new space for us.
Lara is sitting at a table, which really
I'm at a
trolls
table,
her.
which I don't like. I like the couch. I like the couch. I prefer it.
You love to lounge.
I love a lounge moment.
Yeah.
So this feels professional, except I do get to hold the mic, so I still feel like in my element.
And I'm not holding the mic, which means you actually will be able to hear me crystal clear for the first time. Yeah.
So and we have a very
special
special guest, but we'll get to that in a minute because we need to talk about us.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about?
It's weird to be in front. To just set the scene. We're at a table with a producer for the first time.
A producer.
Sammy and our guest, who you'll find out more about in a minute. But it's just like...
And a dog.
We
have a dog.
I'm dog sitting. So this is like a whole new world.
Yeah, this is really weird. This is like I'm not used to like our bare bone like walkie-talkie operation that we usually do. Mm-hmm. But this is about like it's about, growing up.
Things.
It's about growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been doing acting classes this week. Ryan is becoming an actor.
I'm an actress.
He's taking acting classes to learn how to act like himself. Okay, wait. So I too took an acting class once upon a time. Whenever I would have like wayward moments where I like didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, I would like just sign up for acting lessons. Mm-hmm. And so there was this space on Melrose that was walkable from our old apartment. So I would go to acting classes there. And part of the exercise in the acting class was that you had to stand up in front of the whole room of people, and then they would tell you who you looked like and who they think that you could play. So I have that list because I held on to it.
Put it on your vision board?
Yeah, so I want to read it.
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston.
Duh.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
No.
Kim Raver.
I don't know her. I don't know her.
Kristen Wiig.
Sure.
Katherine Heigl.
No.
Amanda Seyfried.
No.
J-Lo.
No! Wait, that's like racial.
I was like,
that's racial.
I don't think so.
I don't love that. Although she has looked pretty white sometimes.
Yeah, she does have moments.
J-Lo can look,
Annalyn McCord.
That's an insult from 90210?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Mandy Moore. Misha Barton.
Yikes, that's a deep troll.
Rebecca Hall, your girl.
Oh, I love Rebecca Hall.
Sarah
She's
Jessica
great.
Parker,
True.
which I love.
Sure.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, which I don't see, but I also love. Mira Sorvino. Oh. And then we got into like what I could play.
Who told you this?
Just all the people in the acting. It was like literally in front of 30 or 40 people.
Though? Like
they just raise their hands and say
acting people?
The other acting people.
The other people in the class?
Then someone would write it all down and then give it to you. So
I would love to know who was like J-Lo. Who told you J-Lo? Who in the class was like,
a real babe told me J-Lo.
Yeah, that person was bathing out that day.
J-Lo.
J-No.
No.
J-No.
There's a girl next door, a tomboy.
Girl next door.
A period piece. A nurse.
An exclamation point piece. Love. Okay.
A high school student, which I love that.
Oh, I love that.
But that was many years ago. A troubled teen. No, this was 4 years ago. So
many years ago. Yeah.
A model.
Oh, well, duh.
A young mom. An Amish girl. Amelia Earhart. So if any producers are listening and would love to make an Amelia Earhart biopic, I am available.
I would love like a hybrid of like Amelie Earhart. An Amelia Earhart hybrid.
Manic Pixie Earhart. Yeah.
A Manic Pixie like.
She's like, fine, the plane all crazy.
Crazy. I need to get my boyfriend. Like, where's my Shins mixtape that I'm gonna send him over the Atlantic? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that. Yeah. I'm confused by it. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
J-Lo.
Yeah, J-Lo. There you go. You should definitely capitalize on that somehow.
Made in Manhattan. 2.
What's that? Like, oh my God. that movie that she was in. I want to say Bright Eyes, but that's a band. It was Angel Eyes. She's been in a lot of bad movies. She's actually not
Angel Eyes. What's Angel Eyes?
Well, of course, like no one heard of it. She played this cop, this like rough cop who like had a blowout every day. The amazing thing about J-Lo is like she plays these roles where she's like scrappy and tough, but her own vanity gets in the way every time, so she looks like a literal bombshell. Like
I love when actresses do that, where they're like, in this scene, I'm an alcoholic. Like Gwyneth did that in Country Strong, where she played like a raging alcoholic who had like had a miscarriage because she fell off stage, but then literally looks like so stunningly gorgeous. It's like, this isn't adding up.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if miscarriages really bring the glow back into your skin.
For her, it seemed to. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
This feels like a good time to.
This is an organic
to segue. Yeah.
So our first guest ever on Babe is a big one for us. He is, I would say, a business associate of ours.
He is. He's a champion of our work. You may have heard us talk about him before on the podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Because I troll you.
Yeah, of course. He's active.
He's an active reader.
Yeah, he's an active talk. He's an active reader.
It's so hard.
No, well now is your time.
I can see you wanting to talk, and now you can talk.
This is
ladies and gentlemen,
actor podcaster.
Yeah. Radio show host.
Yeah. Well, it's not really it's a radio show.
It's a radio show.
Oh, right.
Come on,
I mean, it feels like a podcast, but
what's the difference?
You can't get
one
it on
is
a podcast.
On the radio,
and
one
you
is
can get it
not
on demand on Sirius XM, but it's not. Yeah.
Okay, there
you
go.
It's a classic O'Connell moment of like not even knowing
it's okay.
what a podcast
I told people
is.
I was doing a podcast for months when I first started.
Well, it's Jim's too stupid for politics, right?
Yes.
It's not, and then mine would be like Ryan's too stupid for radio.
So we should say his name. It's Jim Parsons.
It's Jim Parsons.
It's Jim Parsons. That's the guest. You may have heard of him.
My name is Jim Parsons. I'm reading for the role of guest on the Babe podcast.
We'll see. I've seen you do a show where it's just you in New York.
Yeah, well, there were two little angels.
Yeah,
sweet angels.
But it was you.
It was a lot of talking to the audience.
It was crazy that you did that.
I'm not dying to do that again.
Yeah,
not that particular project, but talk to an audience the whole time. I found by the end, while there were certain fun things about it, I prefer as an actor to talk to another actor on stage and just let the audience watch.
Yeah.
Would you interact with the audience in that show?
I mean,
or like stare at certain people. What was your like approach?
Well, the only time we had a worked-in major interaction with them was we had a built-in thing for late seating, and I would yell at them when they came in as God.
Yeah.
And other than that, it was only if somebody spoke up, and which didn't happen too often. I did get a "fuck you, faggot" one night.
No,
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
Wait, why would they go see a show starring you? Like a one-man
playing God. I think that they were.
They're like, you know what? I'm going to
there was
buy
a lot
an
of money to
expensive
spend
theater
to
ticket.
yell.
Yeah, to harass you.
It was odd.
They're
There
like,
was
I
a
know this is
very
the Lion
odd
King,
moment.
Babe.
Wait, you should have been like, babe from the stage.
The problem was.
How did you respond to that on the stage?
Well, I couldn't tell exactly what was going on. I only knew that somebody was having some sort of verbal fit, and I was
Did they have
told.
Tourette's?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, something was wrong with them, clearly, because even if you felt offended by what I was doing, that's a far way to go.
Right.
But I was only later that somebody told me, did you know exactly what they said? And I said no. And one of the angels, who was the one walking through the audience, Chris Fitzgerald, he's an actor, he told me. He was like, it was fuck you, forget. I was like, oh my God.
Did they take him out of the theater?
Yeah, they found him.
Okay.
Wow. No one ever heard from him again.
No. There was one other incident, and I can't now remember because that one was so specific and offensive, that there was one other incident where they had to take somebody out, and I don't remember what he said, but there was something else.
Wow.
Look, we knew portraying God was dicey, but I don't know.
But I'm obsessed with someone that buys the ticket. The tickets are not. They're not cheap.
Extremely expensive.
Yes,
even the nosebleeds are extremely expensive.
Yeah.
That's like when I bought my couch that you wanted just to troll you.
Yeah,
that
it was a commitment to troll.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you do that kind of troll and you pay money to troll, the joke is always on you.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
You're right.
Like,
it is.
The show gets the money.
Yeah.
Your money is going to the faggot playing God.
Yeah.
You just turned the rest of the crowd completely on my side, whatever they thought beforehand.
Oh, totally.
No, it's a very odd situation. Which was why I say, I don't know that something was wrong, whatever the specific wrong was.
That's an odd choice. I remember when I saw you in that, I was there for my book, and I lost my voice, and I had to record my audiobook, and you gave me the name of your doctor, and I went to go see her, and she shot me full of steroids, which I've never done before.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, walking on sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh, like literally, like I saw her and I was like, hi, I had to record an audiobook in 20 minutes. And she was like, oh, don't worry, honey, we'll fix you right up. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, yeah, right. And then literally it was like, and then it was like off to the races. We had 3 days slotted to record the audiobook, and I recorded it in a day and a half.
Did you really?
Yeah. Because I was just like on speed. I
tell you, when used properly, steroids really are a modern miracle.
They are.
It really is true.
I know.
I guess they can be very bad for you. And I don't mean the weight
send
training.
you off the
Have
cliff.
you been on them?
I have, just for like mostly treating like colds or viruses or something like that.
Yeah.
And they always make me feel insane.
Yeah.
And I start sweating a ton. And
Oh,
it's
I
just like
liked
I'm
it.
so hungry.
It felt like Adderall to me.
Yeah.
It felt
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like being on
mean,
drugs. If you've ever enjoyed drugs at all, you'll probably
performance
enjoy
enhancing.
prednisone. Yeah.
I don't like doing uppers, but for some reason I really like that one. And I remember like after recording,
Maybe you don't know yourself quite as well as you think you do. Speaking of drugs,
what?
I had like a really crazy dream that like 2 nights ago that I was at some party and was offered heroin, and I was gonna do it, and then I had a moment where I was like, do I really want to do heroin right now? And then I like looked at someone who was on the heroin that I was supposed to do, and I was like, this doesn't seem like a fun place to really do heroin, and I don't think I really want that in my life.
Have
so
you
I
ever
was
done
like,
it before?
No, I hadn't. And I was like,
I've done heroin
bye, guys.
adjacent drugs.
Really?
What is that?
Oxycontin used to not be time released, like when it was killing everyone, like because it would all hit you at once. So
You mean it
Jesus.
stopped? When did it stop killing everyone?
well, it's still killing. I'm sorry, it's still killing everyone, but it's slightly
Ryan
harder.
came to announce that the opioid crisis is over. It's a huge announcement.
You've heard it here first.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Breaking news.
Babe,
No, babe,
it's over.
Babe, it's over. Get over it. No. Okay. I'm sorry. So, back in the OG Oxycontin days, there was no time release. Now there is a time release, but of course you can get rid of it if you're, smart, and people just inject it. Whatever. Anyway, the point is that I took it. It was so funny because I was hunting for it. I wanted it. And I was like in my liberal arts class, like whatever. And there was a girl that came to class one day crying, and she just looked really fragile and weird. And I was like, she knows where Oxy is. Like in my brain, I was like, she knows where the Oxy is. So I like went up and I was like, babe, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm just kind of fighting my fine. And I was like, anyways. And then I was like, Oxy. And she goes, oh yeah, I have some. I can get you some immediate. Like, no, it was crazy. You guys, honestly, like
You always have a sixth sense. I think in college, especially in college, it's very easy to identify the other babes that can like get you to go level up a babe.
If a girl is coming to her class just casually crying, and she did it like twice, you just know that there's...
I had some criers.
Yeah, like a casual crier. You just know that there's like Oxy on the end of that rainbow.
Well, what? So you took it. What happened?
So I took it. Okay, so this is like kind of embarrassing. So I took it, and it was really fun. I went to Spring Awakening.
The play?
Yeah,
on Broadway?
Yeah.
Did it make you tired?
No, it made me feel very euphoric. So I went to go see Spring Awakening. It was the original cast too. It was Leah Michele and Jonathan Groff.
I'm sure they'll be honored to know that.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. I was like, yes, the bitch of living. Like I was like, So, and then we went out, and me and my friend, and I felt amazing. I mean, truly amazing. And then I woke up the next day, and I felt terrible. And my friend was like, oh, maybe because we were staying
Physically or emotionally?
Physically. I was like feeling really nauseous.
Oh.
And this is really embarrassing. We were staying at a W hotel in Midtown. I know, yikes. And which is its own calm down. And then my friend was like, you should get food from room service, and you should feel better. And so I was like, okay. And then so the room service guy came, and he unveiled the food, and I just vomited.
Oh,
right then.
In your lap?
just like right, when I saw
in front of the food service
in front of
guy.
the food service guy, yeah. And so I was like, I'm so sorry, like, and then
on the floor or like how?
just in bed. Like he came, I was in bed.
You were in bed and you just rolled over and vomited in the bed.
Did you feel better then?
No,
that's too bad.
The vomiting actually didn't stop for a long time.
Oh no!
So I was supposed to check out at noon, but I couldn't move because I was vomiting every like 10 minutes. So I had to call the front desk and be like, I have to stay an extra night, and then I did, and I felt better. But it was like a day of vomiting.
Did they come change the sheets?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean,
so you never did it again, or
no,
did you?
Well, no. I mean, yeah. I mean, I did it. I mean, no, I never did.
Was this at the beginning of your like painkiller?
It was around the middle. It was around the middle. I was in college, so it wasn't like I was fully addicted to painkillers when I was 24, 25 to like 20, 24, 25, 26. I was 22. So I was like dipping my toes. I was like doing a little bit of it, but I was in school and I had shit to do.
Yeah.
So I wasn't fully hooked then. But yeah, so no, I didn't do Oxy. I never did Oxy 80 milligram, the non-time release ever again. But I just did Percocet, which is kind of a lighter form. But
80 milligrams is a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. Do not recommend that at home. No. do not do that.
We didn't do, I mean, I'm older, but I don't know if that's the reason. We didn't have prescription. Like, we did drugs like you hear about between, pot and X or ecstasy.
X?
What do we call it?
I know, I love that you call it
Molly?
X. Yeah, Molly.
Molly, is that what you call it?
Molly is a
MDMA,
different
it's
genre.
different.
But you say ecstasy, I think.
Ecstasy, like a pressed pill,
Ours,
like a pill.
it was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of white with little flecks in it or something.
Oh,
I don't
flecks.
remember.
Okay.
I mean, maybe times
Yeah.
have changed. It's been a long time. Acid,
Acid.
Acid.
You did acid?
A psychedelic journey.
Do you mean to tell me that the woman who loves tie-dye has
No,
never
I
done
did acid.
Oh, okay,
I've
I
done it
never
only
did
once
acid.
though.
Only
I would
once.
never come
And
back
it
the
was a light
same.
because I got a little. I didn't want to like
didn't like
fully
it.
immerse. No,
Yeah.
and I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like just laughing it up. I was like
Yeah.
truly. It was.
I was very
great.
lucky. I lived with two people, a guy and a girl who were a couple, and they had more experience with recreational drugs, and so I was able to kind of have a very safe environment.
That's good.
I mean, that sounds so casual to say. My kids don't do drugs, but I mean, I just feel like if you were going to have an experience like that,
Make sure
as
it's
I
safe.
did, well, I was around people that weren't there to freak me out.
Yeah.
Like we
Right.
didn't even like go out. Like we would hole up in
Just
the
hang out.
apartment and hang out,
Right.
and just experience whatever it was.
That
we were
sounds like
doing.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm again not promoting. It was great. It was fantastic. It really was.
I never did psychedelics because I would be that person that took it once and was like going to live in his car for the rest of his life. Like literally like never came back to the same.
Yeah.
You have to be in a
my
good
brain is
headspace.
my brain is a
prior.
fragile.
You have to know yourself enough to know like sometimes it's not good. What I've learned from trial and error is it's not good to go into a psychedelic experience like iffy on anything at all.
No,
You
and
need to be like very confident
I would
that
have
you're
a
ready.
meltdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I every time I've taken drugs, it's been a joke. I remember the first time I did Adderall was when I was a freshman in college, and I was studying for a final, and I got distracted doing a MySpace quiz, and I spent 6 hours. I was up till 6 a.m. answering a MySpace quiz.
How
like a
long was the
MySpace quiz that
quiz?
literally is like, what's the last thing you ate? Like, what's the last person? Who's the last person you kissed? Like those things. And I was carefully crafting my
Did you publish
my
it?
answers. Yeah, I published it on
Where
my
is
MySpace.
it?
It was on my
wonder-
MySpace. I published it on my MySpace, and that was what I did for 6 hours. I did a MySpace quiz, and then I fell asleep, and I missed my final. So,
Oh my god!
yeah, I'm not good.
Well, but I think that's very interesting because it's supposed to give you more focus, right?
Yeah, well,
I don't really have an
but if
Adderall
you get
pass.
So
if you
you
get
focused.
focused on the wrong thing,
Okay.
honey.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
if you get
can-
focused
it's
on the
easy
wrong
to
thing.
Before
get
you came in.
focused
Oh,
on the
yeah.
wrong thing.
Really? Now,
Yeah.
did you do it recently? You were going to
I
do it for
have
something.
She's always on
prescription.
alcohol.
Yeah, I'm not always. It's like mostly for writing stuff because, as we all know, it takes me.
Takes a village.
It takes a village to get me to write a first draft of anything. It's like torture. It's like it hurts me to have have to like pull a draft of anything out of myself. So Adderall just helps that happen faster. But I do run the risk, like if my text messages are popping up on my computer to get honed in, and then I'm like, I should text my dad. I should text my aunt. Like I should just check in on people and see how they're doing.
Hysterical. You get really lit. And then I remember when I worked at Thought Catalog, my boss came in one day and just gave me an Adderall and said, write 5,000 words on anal sex. And so I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, and I wrote an ebook in an entire day.
No.
Yeah, I wrote an ebook. I know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Now,
bad.
is the work you do in that condition decent quality?
Depends.
You feel?
Depends. Yeah, it can be.
For me it is. It's like, I need just a Kickstarter to get me going, and then I'm like...
Kickstarter. You should have a Kickstarter to get you going.
No, I do. I need one.
Get Lara going. Donate to Lara's Kickstarter to get her going. Whoa.
People would understand that.
They would.
The
They'd
readers
relate.
would understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but like, and then once my creative wheels are spinning, then I can be like, oh yeah, and then I come up with like a good idea, and I'm feeling good, and then... That just linger. The idea sits there for days and weeks.
I feel like I have so many questions from the episodes I've listened to, but I won't remember them all now.
We have questions for you.
Okay,
we have questions for you.
So I want to talk about our origin story because when I went to go meet you, it was when
you came to my house.
Yeah, I came to your house, and it was when my book had come out, or not come out.
You had a house meeting.
Months ago. Yeah, we had a house meeting, and I was really scared to meet you because I had been around celebrities long enough to know that they're psychotic, and I was really, because they're crazy. They are. I mean, you're not, but we'll get to that. So like basically all celebrities operate on a certain level of babe at all times, and some can be worse than others. Some can be a babe ... like, you know what I mean, talking about.
Yeah.
Like celebrities or actors need my experience with them, and I know that this is not like the general rule. My experience with them is that they need a lot of attention all the time. Like they need to be soothed constantly. Like their soothe meter needs to come. It's kind of funny. I think about it like as they need to to be watered, you know? So like they'll come over and they'll be like, hey, how are you? And you're like, great. And then they like won't leave. And then you're like, you were so amazing today. You're fucking gorgeous. You're amazing. Did you lose weight? And they're like, thank you so much. And then they move on to the next one. It's like, it gives them life. You know what I mean? Like it like soups them up, you know, like it's almost like going to a gas station and getting filled up, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think like anyone that gets to a level of celebrity or well-known, like it takes them like you have to be a babe to become that babe.
But I don't know. But then so like when I was going to meet you, I was really like, oh my God, he might be a psycho, blah, blah, blah. And the twist is that you weren't. You were not even like, I also think the bar for normal celebrity is really low. Like
That's
I think
probably very true.
No, but you're not even at that bar. You're like just at a normal person like level.
Well, but first, thank you. Secondly, I think that it happened so late. Like I worked like under the radar, and by that I mean like in local theater and whatever for so long that by the time people were treating me differently, because that undeniably happens to different degrees, it would just seem to me somewhat odd rather than a new way of living. That being said, I do think that what you're getting at, everyone is susceptible to and almost unavoidable, which is that people do talk to you differently, they look at you differently, they treat you differently, and at some point you do morph into that is your reality. And I can't see that how you wouldn't change a little bit. And maybe it's not for the bad, but it is for the necessary, you know.
Right.
Unless you're able to retire and just go away in a cave again. But
well,
I don't know.
Do you think you've changed? Or
I'm sure I have. I'm sure I have.
I don't know, because you just seem so normal. I'm like, what would you be like before? I mean,
I think in the essential ways we're talking about, I have not changed. I think that's probably somewhat true, but I don't know. Nobody, when I first started doing the show, our costumer on it said to me, she's like, at a certain point, you will never again see people. They won't show you, most of them, who they are the same way most other people see them.
That's really interesting.
Wow.
It was very interesting and profound, and it has turned out to be true. It's not always off. I mean, for me, it's typically very nice. I get a really nice side of almost everybody.
Right.
But, sometimes you'll hear horror stories about people and you'll be like, oh, yeah, they don't do that in front of me.
Right.
Yeah.
They
I don't know why exactly. I really don't
'cause
think people want something. I really don't think it's about that. I mean, I don't have that much power anyway. But I just think it's, I'm sure I do it when I don't know, meet people that I've watched all my life or whatever.
I guess people just present themselves differently. Like, they want to give you their best version of themselves because it feels like, I don't know. But I think that's a very true...
Probably it's like validation seeking for them, because
Perhaps.
if you're like a known person, they want to be like, oh, I hope this person likes me. Even if it's like if
they really don't care if they were pressed about it.
Or, don't know.
It's a human instinct.
I have this... I call it a big babe theory, though. Big babe.
Oh, like my show?
Yeah.
I've been sitting on that one for a while.
Really smart to say.
Been sitting on that for a while.
What does it mean?
I think that I want to know the times that you have babed out. I feel like you are just so all around a babe, but I just don't trust it. Because I think that maybe... in your 20s, maybe you were more of a babe, because everyone is a babe in their 20s.
Yeah.
And I want to know about moments that you've babed out.
Yeah, youthful babe moments.
Youthful babe moments.
Yeah. Well, okay, so for me, like, the first marker of babedom is, like, when you get your heart broken for the first time. Like, I went psychotic. I went nuts. I, like, cried in a field.
He screamed, called someone... Was this teen trash?
Yeah. And then I collapsed dramatically at a park. I was like, like, it was just nuts. Yeah. So I want to know if you've ever done that.
Yeah, I would say that, like, love drove me to babedom.
Yeah, it could. Yeah. I don't feel like I did that, only because I feel like I tried to protect myself from getting there so much that I didn't ever get into a relationship. I mean, my first really long-term relationship was Todd. I mean, I didn't date a whole lot before that. I had close gay friends that I would have liked to have been a couple with, perhaps, and it never happened. We just stayed friends, and I never pressed the issue to keep myself from being
hurt.
Yeah. But I'm really trying to think, like, I guess maybe I'm confused about what qualifies as babe. Okay, let me start here.
Okay.
The most recent babe, and I just told you about this. It was a mild, very adult babe, so it's not that exciting. But it was when I posted something on Instagram just this past week. My sister had texted me a picture of her voting precinct down in Texas on primary day. And it was a sign that said, Republicans vote here. And she texted me, she goes, so I guess I'm not supposed to go there. And I was like, well, where are you going then? I don't understand. And I was like, I babed out in that I kind of couldn't, I got kind of hysterical blindness for a minute and was like, something must be done. Right. And so I posted
activism.
Yes, immediate activism. And so I was like, your dirty tricks aren't going to work here. And so I posted on Instagram this picture of that. And I said, don't all voters, no matter what political persuasion, go to the same precinct? And then I kind of amended it. I was like, as seen in Texas or whatever from my sister. And then I kind of amended it when I cooled down a little bit, saying, I really am asking honestly because I really didn't know.
Right.
And me and my sister were going back and forth Googling, and she was like, I'm only getting more confused about this. And I was like, go in there and ask if you're supposed to be here if you want to vote for the Democrat. And if this is the only place you have, why is that sign up?
Right.
Well, she's a busy mother and didn't do her civic duty and never even went to vote that day. So
wait, so really she's the babe?
Yeah.
She's a major babe.
That's the reveal.
But the bottom line is I ended up taking it off because I felt like, and I took it off and I thank people who had replied, because some things people explained to me, they were like, it is a primary, so you have to pick a party, but some places they seem to imply you did vote in two different places, some you didn't. I couldn't get clear answers, and I did feel like I was not trying to shit stir, but just that I just had posted too quickly.
Right.
In a bit of a rage.
But you do have a radio show called Jim Parsons is Too Stupid
It's
for
not
Politics.
that it doesn't come from an honest place. You're
on
right.
brand. I think that's a very on-brand thing.
Yeah. But social media is a place
to babe out.
To babe, where you can easily babe out and then incite other sorts of babe behaviors as responses. And especially when it comes to politics.
Exactly. They were like, it seems like this could have been answered over Google, and which wasn't true.
Right.
But to their point, it's like, why add to a divisive conversation in a divisive environment, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
And I thought that's fair. And in that regard about the show, that was the whole opposite reason I wanted to start the show. So that for me, though, is a good example of a babe moment for me, where I kind of lose my, I don't know if you want to call it a filter, but like,
you get heated and reactive.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is like, because your platform is so big, like it's seen by so many. So for other people, it would be like kind of MBD, but yours is like viewed by millions of people. So
yes.
It's like a bigger babe.
And I don't want to be like that. I find social media so irritating in that way. And I really felt, and maybe that was as much the reason I ended up going, you know what, let's just forget this post ever happened and move on. Because I was like, even if it came from and it did come from an honest place, but I still felt like I'm really adding to, it was true, I was adding to a fiery conversation. But I do think, now that I've talked about that, that's how I've babed in the past. Like, I'm very teetotaler, I'm very fatalistic. Uh-huh. Everything is forever, but until I realize it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so, but I do that every day, Every day.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I need some specific.
I
God, like.
Yeah, like in your day-to-day life, like when do you babe, or like what brings out the babe?
And does Todd reign in the babe, or is Todd a bigger babe?
No,
is he
Todd
a babe
reigns
whisperer?
in the yes.
He's a babe whisperer.
So you're the babe
whisperer
in the relationship mostly.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Oh, definitely.
There's always got to be a bigger babe.
The reason we don't really fight as a couple is, I mean, neither of us want to live in a relationship like that, but also because he does not engage at that level when I begin to lose my mind.
Yeah,
he doesn't. That's so important.
It's crucial.
You cannot have someone that starts to engage the babe within. No, and
so
that will turn into, or just
Well, he doesn't engage with it, which shuts it down. I'm getting nowhere with it.
Well, that's smart. That's like treating you with kid gloves.
Yes.
This is what you do with a child.
It's a babe whisperer.
But it's what a babe whisperer has to do.
I go off. The reason you think I don't have it is because I am really not much of a public baber. I'm not going to fall over a fence. Right. I'm not whatever. It's private babe.
I really would, not that I like wish this on you, but I do kind of want a Misha Barton.
I would love a Misha Barton.
I know.
Jim as Misha.
You scream at someone and be like, I'll be your conduit.
We could reenact it with Chief.
I found that all scary, and I don't know Misha
scary,
at all, but it did.
You don't say. You don't run in the same circles.
I mean,
you and Misha.
No,
Mish?
I don't.
My dear friend Misha.
I really liked the conversation. Who was it till you was like, well, you were mean to Misha or whatever.
Yeah.
How did you do that to Misha?
Which is so absurd. You didn't know her.
You know Misha.
Misha's still sitting there. Misha is still there.
Are you still friends with that person who scolded you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But that was also another night of vomiting for me from opiates. So, common thread. So you and Misha don't hang out. Okay.
I feel like a failure with babe stories, though. Like, I feel like they're not interesting enough.
Well, I actually kind of want to know more about your 20s, though, because I feel like that was a time when you were in New York, you were doing theater, you weren't living in Los Angeles.
Houston. I was doing theater in Houston.
But weren't you in New York before? So you went from Houston to LA, or no?
No, I went from Houston to San Diego to graduate school, and then I went to New York, and then was there for
How long were you in New York?
6 years.
Okay. I want to know about those New York years. Because
I was already 28 when I got there, and I got an agent, and so like I was like feet on the pavement.
You were like
going
a working
to make
girl.
This career happen.
Yeah.
Not to say I wasn't having some fun, but it was it began to get really limited as far as that goes.
So in Houston, were those the babe years?
Tragedy.
Really?
It's a tragedy.
I mean,
honey,
I was having to work between especially. Oh God. I mean, I sort of touched on this already. We really did a fair amount of drugs and drinking, and I mean, I'm not proud, but I'm mostly just saying that so that I sound somewhat like a decent human. I really don't feel not that ashamed of it either.
It's normal.
I was a bit of a wreck. You know, there was a real lull between graduating from undergrad and going to grad school of a couple of years there, where I was working at a job during the day, and we were doing theater every night with this group, and for no money, but we're doing really good things, and I love doing those things. But it was was a tough schedule, and I just felt a little lost and way too much drinking.
Was that your main vice, do you think?
Yeah. By that point, it was. I had been, in undergrad, I had about a year where we were majorly into pot and, like wake and bake type things. And that worked until it didn't. And then I got paranoid. Like, it just turned on me at some point.
That always happens.
I don't get to smoke anymore.
That always happens. But do you look back at that time, though, with fondness a little bit? Because I always think about...
I think it was crucial.
Yeah. Well, I also just think that, like, I always kind of look back at the time. It's like that last gasp of quiet before your life fully begins.
Yeah.
Like, where it's actually kind of exciting because it's all about possibility and you haven't been let down yet.
I do feel like everyone goes through something like it at some level, and which is where you get either just mildly bad up to tragic stories of young people in Hollywood or anybody in the public eye, because they're going to go through something.
Oh, totally.
So in that regard, like when we started doing the TV show, Kaylee was 20. She wasn't even 21 yet.
Oh, wow.
And how old were you when you started doing the TV show?
I was 33.
Okay.
I was 13 years older than her.
Oh my God. A little babe.
And I thought at the time a lot about her. I was like, I couldn't have done it.
Right.
I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Maybe talent-wise, I could have done good work off and on, but like, I was not prepared to be 5 days a week working in front of a camera and blah, 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 whatever. And I don't even mean just the pressures, but just like, I had shit to get out of my system, I guess.
Yeah, you weren't fully cooked.
I was, not at all. I've always been a very late bloomer. And that was part of that for me, I don't know.
In Houston, were you openly gay, or were you?
I was, not with my family.
Okay.
But I was with all of my friends and all of my work situations and things like that.
When did you come out?
To my friends?
Yes, your friends, yeah.
I guess it was like junior year of undergrad. I was probably 20-ish. And there was another actor in the undergrad group that on some drinking night, we ended up getting together. We hooked up. Getting together.
We made it. Together. We made it.
We visited.
I'm learning lines for the play for Boys in the Band, which is written in 68, and I do say made it a couple of times in there. So like,
we made it. I thought you said we mated, and I was like, what? I was like,
that's
we're all just going to
pretend.
Becomes one. We're going to pretend that he didn't say that.
We made it. No, we did not make it.
We made it.
We did not make it.
I was like silently having a, like, what did I just... We mated.
So once I mated with him, then I told my close friends, the couple that I was living with, I was like, this is, and it was really kind of a switch went off for me, not just because of him. There was another guy in the department that I kind of had this major crush on, and I've often remembered that, which was where I kind of came out to myself officially, which was, I'd have no other way to describe besides all those feelings of having crushes and whatever flipped into color. It was from black and white, which was like, oh, well, this is decent and nice and whatever. Once I was really embraced the way I felt about this one particular guy, really, not to be a cliche, but literally rainbows went off. I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And for me, with my closest friends, then it was over. Game was up.
Right. I feel like my coming out was so similar to that because I met a guy that my junior year that I was so enamored with that I couldn't keep it under control. Like I feel like my friends were all like, what is wrong with you? Because I was like, what is he doing? Like, oh, like Michael's having a party tonight. We should go to Michael's. Like, we should do that. Like, and they were like, okay, like, yeah. And I was just like, I can't keep this
right
under control.
I'm not going to keep calling this some sort of weird friendship or something. It's
no. And I also knew that in order for me to pursue him and date him, I had to be out in order to do that. And I feel like, I think that's common for like gay people. She's homophobic. He's like, I hate this gay talk.
He really got really uncomfortable. I was sleeping and crying a minute ago, and now I'm trying to get out the door.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Come on.
But it's like I think you kind of need that incentive. I think, right? Otherwise, it feels too vulnerable and
absolutely. And for me, the transition to talking to my family about it came after I had been in a relationship with Todd for, I don't know, 6 months, a little over half a year. It was just crystal clear. It was like, this is I don't know for sure it was going to last forever at that point, but it just felt like I'm not looking any. I mean, we're having this is going very well. And it kind of felt wrong not to say something.
Like, quickly or whatever? Yeah.
Very quickly.
Lesbians.
Yes. Yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but you go ahead. I feel like in this day and age, we're not allowed to kid about anyone anymore.
No. No lesbian jokes. We wouldn't want to make them mad.
Oh, my God. Oh, shit.
I kid.
Yeah, we did. We started living together very, very, very shortly after that.
Yeah, I guess when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Especially because you didn't date that much before. So
right. That was a big thing with me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Were those first few years with Todd, were you guys just like living, laughing, and loving?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I especially look back, and no one ever gets that first 6 months to year over again, where it's just like insanity. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've done those studies where like the first thrushes of falling in love are really like, you kind of go nuts. Yeah. Like your brain's not working right. Mm-hmm. Whatever's being released or whatever's happening, the synapses are not doing their thing. And, but it's so fun. And I just remember that feeling of like, there was nothing in that first thrush of it all that like there was no hangover, there was no audition, there was nothing that would have normally been pressured that mattered. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm gonna see him right after, or I feel awful but I roll over and look who's there, you know. Mm-hmm. So not to say I don't feel that way now, but not in the same crazy way.
Well, it's different.
Life.
It's different.
16 years, so
I feel like the first 6 months me and Jonathan did, we like fought a lot.
You did. You
guys
fought a lot.
Anymore. We don't fight anymore.
They fought a lot. Well, Ryan was also a mega babe. Like it ignited a true babe within.
Remember when I broke up with him after a month and I told him I couldn't go to this party because I had a chemical peel done?
Yeah, and like Ryan
was that a lie?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, I have a chemical peel on my face. He's like, who are you, Samantha from Sex and the City?
Oh my God.
He was like, oh my God.
My God.
I was like, yeah.
Is he a babe whisperer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's also quietly
he knows how to
a babe.
They're a yin-yang of babeness. So it's like when one is going off, the other one is chill balancing. and vice versa.
But Jonathan is much more, I think people would be shocked to know that he is in some ways crazier than I am.
Do you think?
He is a little bit. His anxiety levels are really high. Oh. And I say that as someone with very high anxiety levels myself.
Yeah, me too.
But I think he's good at keeping it chill, whereas I'm not. Like, he's good at a public chill. Mm-hmm. I am not. I'm going to be who I am regardless.
Right. There's a brutal honesty about you in that way.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Well, yeah, I don't know how else
it's what you bring to the party. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
Or hate it.
I was cracking up when I had no one, because I haven't been around Jonathan that much. I've probably been around Jonathan 3 times at best. We went to dinner and then we were at a party at Adams and then maybe only 2. But when I had no idea he was that murders me. It's so Nathan Lane in the Birdcage, which I just love.
Yeah.
He's
that's hysterical.
Yeah, that's very much his journey, I think. Yeah, but he does calm me down.
Yeah.
And he also just knows how to deal with me, which I think
he does know how to deal with you. And I think it's good that like it's Jonathan and I have like a mutual understanding of how insane Ryan is, so we can like commiserate with each other over when Ryan's being like a total babe.
Well, I was just talking to somebody at work about this, and it was like sort of babe moments of like rage or like you just like. Sometimes I will go off on a commercial and to a point where most other people would look and be like, what's wrong with you? But there are a couple of people who know what you're talking about and they don't give you that look, because that look from somebody else going is really upsetting and doesn't help, and it keeps the spiral going because you're like, oh, you didn't like that, you're gonna hate this. Or I do, at least.
Oh,
see,
me too.
they're more babe. That's more babe for me.
No, me too.
I'm a big, if I start shoveling in and somebody reacts to it, well, we're digging further. You know, when we used to do drugs, when we used to do LSD, and this has reminded me of, which is acid.
Oh, right.
Right?
Thank you. Have you thought about microdosing? Isn't that the new thing?
Yes, I have thought about. I haven't done it.
People are doing it. I
probably won't, but I know. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I always wanted to do it with LSD, though, not mushrooms.
I think I had a friend who does it, and he says it's amazing. It's sort of
microdosing.
Like, yeah, he says it's kind of
like
like
a reset button or something.
He says it's sort of like just an antidepressant. I mean, he's already on those too, but
yeah. So wait, you were saying you were about to say like back in when we were doing.
There was always this maybe sound hard to explain, but what? It's about drugs. A mascot would reveal itself through the trip. Like there'd be 8 hours of doing this or whatever, and eventually you would realize, like sometimes it would be a stuffed animal that had kind of been passed around all night, and you'd be like, oh my god, look, little dinosaur was with us all night. But this is very much Chief today. Chief has decided to be the mascot of today's drug-addled podcast.
I know.
It's the mascot.
No, darling. Oh. When you were in your 20s and you were having unrequited romances, you really did keep it under lock and key. You did not babe out. Did they know that you liked him?
I mean,
would you make it clear?
Most of these people worked in the theater. Intuition's half the battle. I would imagine they all knew to some degree. But the one and this one I actually did confront was the very first one that, like I said, flipped things to color for me. At one point, one evening, I finally was able to tell him, which completely altered the relationship. The bonus with that was that we weren't overly close friends.
Right.
And so there wasn't... It was the end of a certain vision or dream that I was having, but it wasn't like I hadn't altered like the person I hung out with 6 days a week or whatever. So that one was I felt good about that one in a weird way, because I felt like I knew it so strongly. I called it and I said it. Now, did it scare me from doing it later in life? Well, quite possibly, I don't know.
Do you think you kind of like retreated back into your cave after he rejected you? Do you feel like that happened?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I don't underestimate the subconscious levels of protection we're able to work under without even knowing it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like to a greater or lesser degree, everybody has that guiding force inside and so, for all the things I may have missed out on, where I landed, especially in a romantic sense, I feel so fortunate about that. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't go back and redo it, like in a regretful way, But I
think it's good that you said something.
I do too.
It's so important to like tell people how you feel about them, which is something that because I've been single for quite some time with like a little pepper of a relationship here and there, but nothing very serious since college. And it's the last person that I really got like kind of had this obsession over was something that was just an internal journey for most of the time. And then now being out the other side and having some distance from it, I realized that I could have saved myself a lot of trouble if I was just like, hey, I really like you a lot. Like, this is how I feel about you. And then you just get it out there on the table, and then they can do what they will, and it kind of opens and then maybe closes a chapter.
Yeah, maybe.
Or keeps the book
going.
going.
People can handle it, then who cares?
Well, not only that, but you're saying that, and I do think that.
But it's being vulnerable.
It is being
hard to do that.
And that's what's hard about it. And that's why I think that saying especially positive things about another person that you feel about them, well, even if it's not romantic, but those are the few things in life that I think are actually worthy of a regret later on. Yeah. And that, not because of necessarily of what could have been, like you say, it may have closed a door, it could have opened a marriage, who knows? But just for your own sake, it's like, I really liked that person I never was clear about.
Yeah. Just purge it.
Purge it for yourself, and even if they don't feel like hooking up with you or whatever, I mean, it's a nice thing to say to them, you know. Who would not want to hear that? And you can go on that for years.
No one would not like.
I would love if somebody
told that.
And in the low moment, a decade later, you remember that. It's
yes, if someone revealed they had a
Lara
crush
was
on
hot
me.
for me way back when.
Yeah, I would love that reveal.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting. TikTok.
Like, where are my crushes? And you want to come out of the woodwork?
Come out of the woodwork. Why not?
Come out wherever you are.
Oh my God. There was this guy that worked on the set of Will and Grace who was so hot. He was he was like a sec guy. I mean, he worked, I don't know, whatever his title was.
And he was guy.
I mean, whatever,
No offense, sec guy.
No,
he
but
was
he was
set guy.
beyond sexy. It was like he was made in a gay factory, like truly. Like he just he looked like he was from the Eagle. Like,
do you know he was gay?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh honey, I did an investigating report. I did a Nancy Drew deep dive on him, but he would never ever look at me. He would never look at me. I was so invisible, and I felt like truly like a schoolgirl. I'd like see him, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, there he is!" And then like and then he would just be like, like
Who
it was
was
just
he
like,
looking at?
I don't know. He was doing his job, but he like never like I worked there for almost a year. Like he never even like said hi, and it was like I felt so wounded. It felt so primal.
But wait a minute, working on a TV set myself, it would be more odd if one of the set guys made a point of saying to one of the writers in the room, "Hi."
I know. Stop
when would he have had this chance?
You just want some unprofessionalism and drama. You want drama in the workplace.
I want him to risk his job for me.
Yeah.
I want him to risk his job.
It's not that I don't think it would be inappropriate at like that kind of level, but that would be more shocking. The fact that he somehow never managed to say hi to one of the gay writers on Will and Grace is just not that.
It's me.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, set guy.
You could have invited him to a party or something.
Yeah, you could have reached out.
Oh my god.
Why does everyone have to come to you?
I would have just thrown a party in his honor. I did that I think we've talked about this. I did that in college. I had a crush on a boy, and that's when you had a crush on a boy in college, you threw a party. You had to come up with a reason to see them.
Yeah,
to hang out.
So I threw a party because and then he like never came, or no, he came really late and then he left like 20 minutes later, and I was devastated. But I missed that.
Ryan, you want drama.
I really like youth, and I like the pain of things, and when things kind of flatline, I get kind of bored. But they do flatline as you get older. They just not flatline. They even out, and I think it's really good because emotionally it's not healthy to have things be like a roller coaster at all.
Right.
But I think sometimes I do find myself kind of stuck in this sort of malaise where like everything's the same every day, and I'm kind of like you kind of want like just some kind of spark or something.
No, I understand.
Some exciting something.
Well, I think a couple of things about it. Number one, I think, because I do this all the time, where it's like you realize it's easy to over romanticize some of the eras of your life where there were undeniably moments of true electricity and just utter joy, and almost to a bipolar degree, that were sandwiched between how do we buy a cigarette and where are we going to eat? It's just like, it's not, it's ugly. There's, but, take the good, take the bad. I guess if you're living at polar extremes, you're going to have a lot of joy and a lot of pain.
Do you ever feel like you babe out in a role? Like, do you ever
I think for anything that has a rehearsal process about it, and you're creeping towards the finish line or whatever, especially in theater, there's always the moment of like, this is awful. This is awful. And I'm terrible at it.
Right.
I think the hardest thing about acting for me, one of the most difficult things has always been you read something and you want it and you can see how you'd play it and why you're good for it. And then you get it. And you're so happy, and you start working on it. And to start working on it really shatters the dream for a minute. And the rehearsal process and the memorization process even are all about reassembling that dream. And it's not going to be the same vision that it was. And in that moment where everything's kind of broken, it can feel like, I'm never going to fucking get this.
Yeah.
I'm never going to bring it to the life that I thought I could.
Right.
Which isn't true.
Same.
Well, but seriously, I think it's, I don't
relatable struggle.
Never ever felt good in an acting class.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, moments, but overall, the majority of time in acting class for me was always a small level of torture. Of going, well, I'm not very good at that. Well, I'm not very good at that. Well, I'm not. It's just. And if you can keep the fortitude and like, I know deep down inside I actually have talent of some sort and get through to the other side,
How old were you when you got Big Bang?
I guess I was 32 when I got it. How old am I? Yeah.
And then how long were you living in Los Angeles before you got it?
I wasn't. I was auditioning. I auditioned. I came from New York. And then, yeah.
So you were never a struggling actor in LA?
No.
That probably saved you a lot of babe moments.
I came here for 2 pilot seasons, and both of them were, although one of them ended up with getting Big Bang, it was torture.
Really?
Torture. I still smoked back then, and I drank. And I was like, all I do is walk around and smoke cigarettes all day. All day around my courtyard or whatever. I was like, because to get in the car and go, where? I didn't know about the Grove.
Yeah.
That changed things for everybody.
Yeah,
that changed
really
things. That's a game changer.
LA.
Yeah.
So I found it torture.
Did
so
you know
I do
anyone here?
consider. I had one friend.
One friend.
Well, that's not true. I think I had two. I had met one actress doing a show, a regional theater show at La Jolla Playhouse the year before, and I stayed at her guest house. And then the next season, I stayed in an apartment around the corner from her. So,
and that's just going on like a million auditions over the course of like a month or something like that.
Something like that.
Okay.
32 is actually kind of, I mean, it's kind of late for actors.
I'm telling you, I really mean it. I am a late bloomer.
But you were like gung-ho, you're like, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to try and do this. And then did you have people in your life that were like, honey, you're a little old for it? No, they were like really supportive. And
well, I looked younger.
I'm assuming
you do look younger.
You look 32 today.
Right. I mean, in certain light still, yes.
You have a youthful glow.
Glow.
So what do you do?
We'll need
you
to get into your skincare. Yeah.
I'm serious. Do you do
skincare?
No,
Readers are going to want to know.
Well, I only recently started washing my face every day because of you schooling Ryan.
Oh, wow.
Look at me making a difference in people's
I
lives.
began using Aveeno Ultra Calming Foaming Cleanser in the shower.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good cleanser.
Wow. But you have like Jonathan like skin because Jonathan has like very like young. He just doesn't have anything.
It's pure, for the most part, DNA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
No, do you do a moisturizer?
I do.
What's your moisturizer?
I feel like Todd is a skincare journey. Right?
Yeah, Todd loves that stuff. Todd loves projects, and part of that is about skincare, and it's really adorable. I couldn't do it because I'm just tired at night, and he's getting some sort of a regimen. I'm like,
sure.
I get halfway through a book before he gets back in. Right. This is not to paint him as some sort of diva, but I mean, he just enjoys it.
No, I love it. It's thrill. It's an element of control in an otherwise chaotic world.
I used for years Oil of Olay. The one that they do the commercial. Do y'all ever watch commercials? I feel like I'm the only person alive to watch commercials.
Yeah, I see one.
The one that Nicole Kidman does. Oh, look, another something. Wait,
Nicole Kidman's in a commercial?
She voices over.
Oh, I didn't even catch it. No, I haven't seen that.
I watch commercials so much because I only watch live TV.
Can we talk about how Jennifer Aniston is hawking 20 different products right now? Like every time I turn on the TV,
she's always been doing that.
I know, but it's like the new levels to which she's going. She's now doing eye drops because why not?
Sure. She needs to cover eye drops. She has Aveeno,
skin,
smart
water.
What else?
She does hair.
Yeah, she had. Well, I don't know if she does anymore, but she, I think, co-founded Living Proof, this like hairline that's in Sephora, and it was really good.
I liked
but she might have dropped
did a
out
nice
of
and
that.
easy commercial.
Sure,
I loved it.
Oh, I love when Julia Louis-Dreyfus did the Old Navy commercials.
That's right. I love that too.
You've done some commercials too.
I'm still ongoing with it. An ongoing thing with Intel.
Oh, love.
It's been nice. It was a good fit, obviously, for the reason for the show. But the other fun thing about it, for me at least, not fun, but I was like, this sounds like a good idea. I don't really. It sounds weird. Know what I'm selling.
Right.
It's like not a process. It's not a PC.
No. In fact, the line I say in most commercials is, at Intel, we develop technology that whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, but I'm not selling technology. I think you're selling, I don't know.
Just a vibe.
You're selling yourself.
You're selling like an idea.
My soul was long since sold. No, I don't know. I'm
You're
really
selling
not
the
sure.
company.
I guess kind of. And that little sticker that says Intel on a processor or whatever.
Do you have a PC or a Mac?
A Mac.
Love that.
Well, duh. What, are you going to have a PC?
Well, I don't know.
Some people do.
He's the
My
face of
family
Intel.
does.
Well,
everybody I know.
Having a PC is a babe move to me.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
It is.
I don't know how to work them. We have them in Series XM in the studio, and I don't know whether to right click, left click.
Yeah.
What the hell's happening?
Having a PC is like a cry for help.
Yeah. My dad just had his 71st birthday this week, and I asked him what he got, Butch, and he got himself a PC that he ordered on Amazon. And I was like, babe? And then I was like, I gotta go.
Did he get it working?
Yeah, he was like, I guess he found the computer somewhere, but then it was much cheaper on Amazon. Yeah. So there we go.
Can we talk about the phone call you had with your mom?
Yeah.
It was insane.
When was it?
So last week, I come over.
No, this was 2 days ago.
2 days ago. my concept of time is so...
This might have been yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yesterday
I'm sorry. I don't know. I come over. So I don't know. Like every day it's just like one.
Ryan just lives.
Yeah.
He's like, what is time, really?
What is time? A wrinkle in time.
No, this was like yesterday morning. I was talking to my mom. My mom called me, and I've said this on the show before, but she goes...
A monologue.
She does a monologue.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's like where you get her... You say, hey, how are you? And then 20 minutes later, she's still talking.
She was ready to let loose.
Yeah.
No, but the things that she would talk about, it was actually breathtaking, because I come over there because I think you printed something out for me, a script or something. Mm-hmm. And you had your mom on. You were on mute,
speakerphone,
but you were muted.
Well, sometimes I speakerphone her and mute me so I can do some
you don't
stuff
understand.
while she goes
the
on the
things
monologue.
she talked about were shocking. She literally talked about ice cubes for 10 minutes.
What?
Ice cubes. So she was in charge of. She was in charge of
starts
water.
With it's like. She's just put an offer on a new house. So she's going to move into a new house. And she's like, oh, and then the house, and then there's a carpet. And then I can put the refrigerator in there. But then, I have that other refrigerator that I just don't. I've never liked those ice cubes. And I prefer the ice cubes that don't stick together. And I actually like Sonic. They have the best crushed ice. And that's the best ice. And the other day I was asked to go to a baby shower. And I was in charge of the ice and the coffee. And I brought the ice cubes. And they were not stick together, and every woman liked them, and they were wonderful.
Them.
And I
was
won.
A hit.
I was a hit.
won.
And the ice was a hit.
Had gender.
And then the coffee I got vanilla, and it just goes
she
on
talked
and
about
on.
coffee for a long time. She talked about plant, or it was insane. She was
like,
giving a TED talk about ice cubes.
It was a
TED
was
bizarre.
Talk. Yeah,
it was actually insane.
And
she didn't stop. And then Lara would unmute herself and be like, and then mute again.
No,
yeah,
that's all she encouraged she needed.
No, that's all she needed. That's all she needed. She'd be like,
and then I'll ask a question. I'll be like, what is what's the backyard like, or something like that, or I'll ask a question that could be a yes or no answer, and then it takes 5 to 8 minutes to get around to the...
It felt like an almost too on the nose sitcom scene in a weird way, because it was it was so laughably insane. And then of course all roads lead back to, no matter what she's going to talk about, whether it's ice cubes or coffee, it always leads back to seeing someone special.
No, it'll be
always leads back to that.
Are you dating? She goes, because it was I got it for the baby shower, and when you have a baby or you get pregnant, you can come to Oklahoma and we'll do a baby shower. And are you seeing anyone special? And I'm like,
and then also
what?
She names people that you haven't talked to, and she's like, well, then I saw Tina, and then I saw Marissa.
She's like, and Melinda,
Melinda,
Melinda.
Stephanie.
And I'm just like, I've not seen these people or spoken to them in 20 years probably, but it's I figure she needs to talk.
Clearly.
She needs to have.
I don't think that's uncommon with mothers.
Yeah.
I will tell you something funny though. My mother moved into a new house 2 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And I'm not lying when I tell you, since she moved, we've spoken on the phone none.
Really?
What?
Not once. Not once.
Wait, what?
There's a couple of things.
Was she in a house a long time?
She was in
before
a house
moving?
from 1978 until, what was that? 2015.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's my mom's same journey. Was in the house, has been in the house for 40 years.
This is the house we grew up in.
Yes, right. Same.
My dad died while she was in that house, and anyway, so she finally moved, and I don't know the full implications of us not talking on the phone. We text frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I see her in person. I visit. She visits.
How do you coordinate that? Via text? The visits?
The visits. Yeah.
Yeah, you text. Okay.
And I text with my sister a lot.
Okay.
The biggest thing is I don't like to talk on my cell phone. I find it hard for me to talk on my cell phone. I really don't like to talk to somebody else on their cell phone. And especially I don't like to talk to, God bless her, my mother on her cell phone. Because there's that tiniest of minuscule lags.
Yes.
And I guess if you've had cell phones long enough, like some of us have, that you just have become accustomed to it and you know how to do. That's not what's going on with her. It's always oh, wait, what? Well, this constant traffic jam of verbals.
It'll be trying to get the phone to connect to the Bluetooth, and then she'll sound far away, and then she's like, "Hello, hello, hello, hello," and then I'm like, "I cannot hear a single word you're saying," and she's like, "What did you say? What? Oh, the blue," and it's 10 minutes of just figuring out.
So I've tried to call her home phone several times, and she never answers it. And I don't know if she's not there. She's frequently out and about. She's
social?
Oh, yeah.
Did moving into the new house free up her life?
She retired a year later.
Yeah.
Great.
She was still teaching, And for years we had talked about the fact that she was ready in so many ways, but she was so scared of what am I going to do? And the new house gave her something to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also it changed. I mean, it was weird. Is she moving now, your mother?
She's going to move within a month. So she put her house on the market. It sold within a week.
Wow.
And then yeah, because
why is this such a hot property?
It's just in a area of Oklahoma that's very been up and coming, built around a Whole Foods got put in, and an Anthropology and all this all these restaurants and shopping centers.
This is in Oklahoma?
Yeah. We finally got an Anthropology. Yeah. It was it never had
I feel
happened.
Anthropology just sells quilts as dresses.
They do. Their clothes are not for me, but their house stuff.
Do you love a quilt around your body? Well, you can wear it outside.
Their house stuff and furniture is really great.
And then their fucking candles, because I'm a candle snob. Their candles are all vanilla melted cupcake cinnamon cookie swirl. And you're shut the fuck up. I don't want to get diabetes just from smelling this candle.
They're not it's that. That's a Bed Bath & Beyond journey. No, their candles are the volcano candle.
Yeah, they're
it's a migraine.
No, it's Volia Spa. They were the first candle I ever got. Was my gateway drug, Baltic Amber. And then I never looked back.
Is that what you still use?
No! Oh, as if.
What are we burning today?
APC.
But yeah, so my mom was living in this house for a really long time. She was kind of debating on whether or not to sell it, but it's she had 4 kids living there, but then now it's too big for someone to deal with on their own. And then kind of, I think, had a mental block when it came to let's get this listed or get it cleaned out and get it ready to be put on the market. And then I was home over Christmas for 9 days, and I was going to help her organize, but she never kick-started that motion. And so I was
then you popped an Adderall and got to work.
No, I was just well, I guess maybe you need to go to therapy and talk about why it's hard for you to sell this house. Yeah. And then it was
please,
literally
mom's in therapy. Good luck with your projects. I've been trying to get my mom in therapy for years.
One day she just decided she was doing it, and she got it all cleaned up and sent me a picture, and I was like, wow, this looks amazing. I feel, and I had my psychic feeling, and I was like, I think that house is going to sell fast. And within a week it was.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was done.
Well, I'll tell you, if she's anything like that, whether it's before she moves or once she gets into the new place, it does something refreshing. And one of the things, this sounds morbid, but we talked about it with her, but it's what a favor she just did me and my sister, in that so much stuff that, God willing, she's with me for another 30 or 40 years, but one day she'll be gone and we'll be in charge of going through things.
Right.
And I think that's a really challenging part when somebody passes away, having to go through all this stuff, not just because it's a nuisance, but because it's just so triggering, you know? And so much of that, because she moved at this point in her life, was it's gone. I mean, they threw away so much stuff that it was why are we holding on to this? It kind of doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom has been doing the same thing, and she said as much. She's like, I just don't want you guys to be in a position. Yeah. And I'm like, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too.
Do it. I'm like, this is a PSA to my dad that he needs to think about doing the same thing.
That house, forget it.
When do you ever write about Butch?
I have a book that I'm working on that includes a lot of Butch stuff, because he's been a very formative part of my life and my own personal babedom.
There hills.
Yeah. There is, and he is just a character. He's a character.
He's a character. Clearly.
He's infamous. Yeah, in his circle and those who know him and have met him.
Yeah, your book is a lot about him.
Yeah, it's a lot about him.
Well, and your particular relationship with him seems unique and special in its own.
It's every single facet.
I was gonna say it's like a pinata of places to go.
There's so much, and there's there's definitely a lot of pain there, and there's and
wouldn't be funny if it wasn't.
Yeah,
no, that's true.
Some betrayal, but then there's also a lot of love and respect and a mutual adoration of each other. We had a real moment when I was home over the holidays, and we were talking. We had torn through a bottle of wine, and him with his vodka tonics, and it was nearing the end of the night, and he's had a moment where he's I really admire what you've been able to do. He's the books that you've written, he's I just feel I would not, that's something that I would have maybe wanted. I just am kind of had a moment of saying he's almost jealous of that. And I was that was so crazy to hear. I know, because some things I keep to myself
until they're on a podcast.
Yeah, but it was one of those. Yeah, it was one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, this is like really touching. And then
I don't think you can underestimate, and no one should, the effect of not just positive energy sent your kids' way with things they want to do, but just not negative, frankly.
Yeah.
The fact. My parents were not jumping for joy when I told them that I was going to switch my major to theater. It was like, mother of shit, he was supposed to do, I don't even know what I was going to do. But they weren't discouraging either. And therein did lie a major difference for me.
Yeah.
The parental, both approval and either encouragement or just not discouragement is just, I think, more important to most people than we give it credit for. Or maybe most therapists be like, no, that's all we talk about. Are you kidding me? But to me, it seems like a revelation at times. The later in my life I've gotten, the more I'm like, that was even though I felt like I was trying to please peers so much of the time, and certainly directors, whatever, the fact that I felt like I mostly kind of had their okay with what I was doing, that was the best launching pad.
My dad has never, he has never, to his credit, like, ever discouraged me from anything that I wanted to do. And like, it has therefore allowed me to like babe out in a lot of ways, but also allowed me to do things like try modeling.
Exactly.
And like,
no, but you're
try and fail.
Your path.
And like has been very much like amused by it and encouraged it. And so it's like that is really huge to have a parent that's like, he's never had one moment of like doubting or just being like, what if you tried to do this instead? Which is something, I mean, my mom obviously cares about me and loves me. And that comes from a place of that whenever she suggested I go to law school or something. But I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to law school. Like, look at me.
Yeah.
And I'm not a lawyer. Okay.
I'd love to see you argue a case.
No, I would be a really great lawyer, but like, I'm not going to go to law school at like 33 years old.
No.
You know what I mean?
No,
like,
that's not your journey.
Happening.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. So it's like, I love though that is I love a parent that is just encouraged and amused.
Or just not said anything at all.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what my parents did. They kind of like,
they're hands off.
They're very hands off. And they kind of just knew I was going to always do my own thing and like whatever. I mean, I feel bad because I feel like I've publicly humiliated them in like my work.
No, I don't think so.
Not really, but this show will be that for my mom. It's not going to be humiliating for her, but it's going to be like, I told her, I was like, do you want to come to set when we're shooting? And she was like, no.
So, really?
Yeah. And I don't think it's that bad, but I think it's I don't think the betrayal of her is negative at all. I think in fact
I don't either.
No.
I think it's very humane and it gives her
and I like that it's like a mother's journey and like showing.
I was gonna say it gives her a real platform.
Gives her a real thing, but I think that it's just hard because my mom doesn't talk about anything. You know, like it's like the Lady Bird thing. When I watched Lady Bird with her, and I was expecting kind of some like honest conversation, she like starts crying watching it, and I was like, yes, this is the time. And then she turns to me when we're done. I'm like, well, Mom, what do you think? She goes, it's like literally wiping away tears. She's like, that Saoirse Ronan character, is she pretty in other movies? Because she's not pretty in this.
Oh my God.
You're like, well, you really
I'm like, okay, that's a wrap on this cathartic conversation.
The Me Too movement.
Yeah, but I'm also just like, wow, like she's not going to dig deep. Okay. So I think like anytime that you confront her with anything real, she just shuts down.
Yeah.
So I think like this show will be hard for her, and I don't. But she won't talk to me about it, which is kind of amazing. The amazing thing about having a repressed parent is that they can't talk about it because they just like to be repressed. So actually, you're completely off the hook. You're like, okay, great. You're kind of like, because you don't have the balls to actually confront me and talk about this because it would entail having a real conversation.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's good.
My dad, when I wrote that article for Broadway, doing meth with my stepmom, I think my dad, I mean, it kind of really put him on, and it kind of put my dad on blast because he was in this relationship with this like crazy woman, and like, I don't ever like try and come for my parents in my writing. Like it's like I mostly just like
sometimes the facts come for themselves.
The facts come for them.
Yeah.
And I think he was partly kind of weirded out, but then more so he likes the attention and he likes he just likes that someone wants to write about him and then he can talk about it, and then so
I think it's true. I think there's this is why I feel like you know your mother so well. You're probably right, but there's always that glimmer of possibility because people, it's a natural human thing, love to see themselves reflected in genres of art and entertainment and things like that so much that even if it's not a completely positive thing, it's just such a joy to see who you are reflected. And sometimes a really good way, even if it is based on that person, they find that the other stuff is such exaggeration that it's kind of like getting a good laugh at, well, I'm not like that, but it's that they also know it's that. I don't know. I understand with Butch, how he could revel in it.
Yeah. It's exciting for him.
Yeah.
My dad's biggest trigger is when I call him cheap because he is. He's a very cheap.
Wait, he gets mad about that?
Yeah. He's like, I'm not cheap. And I'm like, honey, I have the receipts. He's very cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it, like how he, when we go out when I was 12 with my friends and he'd make my friends pay.
No. I've never fully understood the shame in being cheap, though.
There's shame to me.
Okay.
There's shame because there's a difference between being poor, which are like you don't have enough money. My dad made a good living. He was like, he was a social worker, so he wasn't rich or anything like that, but he made a good living and he chose to be cheap because it's like a condition. But the fascinating thing about my dad too is like also like he's really driven by making money, which is really bizarre because he doesn't spend it. It's sort of like, I don't know. I don't really know what that is.
He just likes the security.
He just likes security. Yeah.
Were you going to draw a distinction between frugal and cheap?
Yeah. I think, there is a distinction. Yeah. I think frugal is like you're just making smarter financial decisions and cheap is just being
not skipping the waitress to save a buck.
My dad took us to Tarzana, which was way out of the way when I last saw him, to go to a car wash that cost $5. There's a meth head screaming on the corner, and then the car wash breaks down halfway through.
God.
I'm like,
that's cheap.
I'm like, that's cheap. And also, it's just penny wise, pound foolish. I mean, I think, or like, it probably cost more for him to go there in the gas. Or whatever. Should we do babe mail?
Should we do some reader mail?
Oh, yeah, reader mail.
Yeah.
I forget.
Okay, we have some good ones for this week. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I allowed to talk about them?
Yeah.
No, we want you to chime in.
Involved.
Okay.
Yeah, we want you, because are these advice?
Some of them. But our first one, Gonorrhea Girl.
She's back.
She's back.
Gonorrhea Girl's back.
Gonorrhea Girl's back.
Okay.
And
how much more is left to say?
Well, maybe she got a diagnosis.
Dear Lara and Ryan, Gonorrhea Girl here, reporting back for an update. It was
Gonorrhea Girl's boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was really fun to learn that I'd actually emailed you too. I thought that it was a really vivid dream that I had, but it turns out I was just blackout, which isn't a surprise for me, TBH. Anyways, this was a good wake-up call for me and how much I've been bathing out. I'm not even sure how I contacted you since I can't find any evidence of it on my devices, but I have no doubt that it was me. I need to take some time and really get my shit together. Love and light, Gonorrhea Girl. P.S. I got tested and I don't have gonorrhea, but I'm keeping the name. Yeah. So there's
I was going to ask, where's the light and the love and light in this life? There it goes.
Gonorrhea Girl is not Gonorrhea Girl. Which is Gonorrhea Girl.
Yeah.
Which she'll always be Gonorrhea Girl.
Spiritually, she'll always be Gonorrhea.
Yeah.
No matter what the test says.
I love that. Here's a good one. Advice for a gay with babe tendencies. Dear Lara and Ryan, I fucking love your podcast. I have a babe. Let's be real, it's far more a babe ... story followed by a question seeking advice. When I was 21 and interning in NYC, I met a boy and we hung out a couple times. He was totally cheap. The homophobe.
She's like, I hate these gay people. Stop it. No more gay talk. I can't take it. I can't take it no more.
He was a totally closeted Syracuse frat bro pothead who was a total doofus but with a face chiseled from granite, and the sex was lit. We went our separate ways but kept in contact. However, the way we kept in contact was insane. He was apparently dating a girl at the time, and we would text via an app he had that scrambled his phone number, so while he had my phone number, I never actually got or could contact him. One time he floated the idea of coming to Philly where I was finishing my senior year and hanging out. Next time we talked, I brought it up and he got real weird real fast. Long story short, he basically gaslit the shit out of me by acting as though I was desperate to be his boyfriend and in love with him. His behavior made me feel outraged because that's not what I wanted at all, but my annoyance and outrage at his behavior actually got me more invested as I wanted to meet even more to prove him wrong.
It's a nightmare.
I got tricked into caring more than I should, and he was lying all the time, which was exhausting and maddening. We eventually stopped talking after he blocked me from all social media.
That's what it took? Okay, go on. Sorry.
Babe moments after that included creating an alter Facebook account to DM him and explain my side of the story again, finding his family address and real number via the dark web, though never reaching out, and just generally fixating him on a way too much. Ever since, closet cases are a total boner killer. Fast forward 4 years, I'm now 25 and have moved into an apartment in the East Village. Guess who hits me up on Grindr? This fucking dude.
No.
He now literally lives across the street from me. He asked to hang out, gave me his real number, and said a lot has changed. He's a, quote, relationship boy now and is openly gay. Meanwhile, I've still never had a point.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know.
On Grindr. We've texted a little. I'm not sure what to do. I know I should never want to speak to him again, but I would like some closure as to what was real and what was fake and get a genuine apology from him. I'm also worried he's the same shitty person. And basically, this is the problem. Yeah,
this has got to end.
Yeah.
This is email first.
Yeah.
But this has got to stop.
The email needed to stop.
Oh my Lord.
I had to just stop the email.
To breathe for about 4 sentences earlier.
Yeah.
What a nightmare.
But I will say, like, being, like, I guess, coming from an empathetic place is, like, when you are closeted, you do really insane things because of your own self-loathing.
You're doing empathy for the guy. The other guy.
Yeah, because, like, even though, like, what he did was not chic and terrible, like, the person he hated the most was himself. I mean, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, I think, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's true. I also think that people need to be really aware of things. And I think when certain red flags come up, you need to turn no matter what it is you're feeling. I mean, from anybody who even has an app that knows how to scramble what the fuck is going on?
That's insane.
Stop
That's
right
a
then and
liar.
there.
That's
really
lying,
crazy.
weird behavior.
That's a deep cut.
And when someone shows you who they are, you need to believe it.
them immediately.
Didn't Oprah say that?
Yeah.
I think Maya Angelou said it. You fucking racist.
You are racist.
No, stop.
I brought you here
We
today
already
to
made a
confront
lesbian
you.
joke. We
I
can't.
know, but I can do that because I've had a lesbian moment, so it's fine.
You're an aspiring failed lesbian.
I am. I think I guess it's like closure is one thing. I feel
What are we closing though?
I'm a big believer in saying like your side of say what hurt you. If you really feel like you need to confront this person and say what hurt you, you can say that.
Sure.
And they need to either acknowledge that and whatever, but you don't need to do like a therapy session with this person.
I mean, because I feel like this, and again, I'm not trying to be glib as Tom Cruise would say about it, but I just feel like this is more of a situation where you got out of something alive, and that is your closure right there. I know it's not the exact same thing. It's not cut and dry like that, but it's like, oh my God! This feels like a revisitation. Oh, I'm sweating.
It's a backside. I'm having a
I would revisit, but I'm a psycho.
Revisit, but you're a
I
You
love a revisit.
love the drama. Yeah, the drama meter's
I need the drama
high.
meter to get fed.
You would love live across the
And
street.
if that's what he wants, the loyal reader, then I think that's fine. But be honest with yourself about it as much as you can, and go, I'm going to go dance with the devil, because that's what's going on.
And
But
honey,
maybe he
also,
has
if you're
healed.
saying that you've never had a boyfriend and it's been all this time, maybe part of the reason you've never had a boyfriend is because you're going back to closet, now not so closet, across the street.
We're worried for you.
We're worried.
Yeah, we're worried.
And
we
we
want
care.
good things for you.
And we care. Yeah.
Yeah, we totally care.
That was a great email.
Yeah, that was good.
Really
we get
intense.
really good ones.
That was
We
a
get
really
really
good one.
good-
People are good
good
writers.
ones.
It's like crazy. They they give good emails. It's good.
Okay, here's a good one. Lara and Ryan. I'm a straight female, never had anal, but I love your massage visit ending in anal sex.
Just to clarify.
25. We got a lot of females coming out on Twitter.
We got a lot of people
just tweet
coming out
us
of the
being
anal
like,
closet.
as for the question you asked, the answer is yes. Like,
Yeah.
they can't even
No, they
say
do.
that
They
they're
can't even
big
say it.
anal fans,
Yeah,
but
people
we
love
can see
Like
you.
the peach
And by the way,
emoji or something.
Something also that we didn't talk about was that people are really into hearing about my loose asshole.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
love
And,
Ryan's
they
loose
love it because
asshole.
we thought that the readers had dipped because we were talking about, but they
No, but
actually
the readers
love
just
it.
dipped, yeah.
And they said
They just dipped. Not,
How do you know?
Unrelated. We keep.
But they're up
We
again.
get the statistics.
They're
They're up
back
again.
up.
They're up.
Partially
Oh, yeah.
because you shout us out on social media. We always see a spike.
I know.
So
Really?
keep doing.
And then they leave immediately. They go and they're like, what is this? And then they abort.
I had to put up parental warning when I put it down.
I know, honey. Yeah, it gets real.
I love a parental warning.
It gets real, but I feel very soothed that people are really into my anal journey.
They
so
are.
I feel really heard, and my asshole thinks
An anal journey should always be a soothing thing.
Yeah, it should. Well, yeah, it should.
Yeah.
Should.
Sometimes
Okay,
it's not.
So
Okay.
straight female, never done anal.
Yeah, no. 25 years ago, while in college, I went to London for spring break, sponsored by my parents, to check up on my sister, who was doing a semester abroad internship. They wanted to make sure she was eating. So basically, I would order food and tell her, gross, I don't like whatever food I bought. So she was so cheap, she would say, well, if you don't want it, I'll eat it. Anyways, spending my days... So
Was she anorexic?
I think so.
Okay.
No, wait. Was she anorexic or was her sister anorexic?
Sounds like they both have eating issues.
Sister.
I don't mean to read between the lines, but it's telling both that you may have an eating thing.
Sister. Okay.
Anyways, spending my days alone, just walking around London, the first stop I made was to Soho to pick up 3 bottles of poppers. I thought they would be fun just to bring back to college. I never knew they had anything to do with anal sex. I read in some book how fun they were, and I knew I could get them in London. While in London, I met some random guy at a pub and took him back to my sister's flat where she had 3 roommates. I'd have every intention of fucking this guy and making him my London romance. My sister and her roommates wouldn't let him come in. I was so pissed. Was this a babe moment or was I being a babe? I didn't know what to do, so I just let him go. I still have regrets about not fucking him with my newly acquired poppers possibly ready for use. By the way, my sister came home from abroad weighing 74 pounds.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay.
My friends back in college.
So way to email.
My friends back in college all love the poppers for those brief seconds of feeling high. I got the nickname of Poppers Blank. I think I gave all the poppers away before moving out the freshman dorm. Also, my brother. Okay, wait. This is like really. This email
Keep going,
started
though. I
out.
love
Okay.
it. No, but I love the flip-flops.
Also, my brother moved to Reno to work on the construction of the Tesla plant where he acquired a meth habit. That ended his years of sobriety, and yes, he's a fat speed freak. He came back to Maryland, but not before we were contacted by the sheriff in Wyoming that he was being chased by imaginary people and that he needed police escort to the county line. Hence, while in the next county, totaled his car and spent the next couple days in a county detention center, came home, got back into AA, and gave my husband his 90-day chip. Love, babe, and the Sir podcast. Please keep the anal sex stories.
What is the question?
There's no question.
Well,
There's no question.
But by the way,
I love them,
the
and I'm
underneath
a
of all this,
44-year-old.
well, the underneath of this is that she's the least babe out of her whole family.
Yeah.
Because her babe question, which is not a babe, is that she wanted to fuck this guy and then she
let
couldn't.
him go.
She was like, was that babe? Anyways, my sister was 74 pounds. Anyways, my brother's addicted to meth. It's like, wait, honey, I think you're fine.
Yeah, you're actually the best.
Yeah.
You're best off in a family of babes.
I love just like an anorexia aside. Anyways, she was 74 pounds. Anyways, I love poppers. I was like, honey, like.
I mean, y'all are going to have to start issuing, like, do not take medical advice from this podcast
Yeah,
if this thing
don't
keeps up.
take the medical advice.
No.
The confessions coming your way are...
They're pretty real.
Do use poppers and anal sex maybe if you're into that.
Have you done poppers?
No.
No.
Me
But
either.
I didn't know it was
Me
an
either.
anal sex thing either.
It's
Really?
a total
I thought it was just a
Until
sex
when?
thing.
Just now?
I don't know anything about them, but so I
Okay.
guess what little I thought I knew was like they intensified an orgasm is all I thought.
Yeah, well, that's when you're getting fucked, I think.
They
Wait, no,
don't
it loosens
intensify.
up,
It
it loosens
just
up your
loosens
asshole,
up.
which we all know I don't need.
Yeah. He's NPN. No poppers necessary.
That's what they're mostly for?
That's what they're
It
for.
loosens up your asshole, so you're. Or I don't know.
The first
I
time,
actually haven't not done it. I've
I
never
had
done
anal
it.
sex, I did poppers and it was great.
Really?
Yeah. It was
Well, yeah, you need it. If you're a girl having anal,
yeah.
you need all the
How
help you
does a
can
popper
get.
work?
You sniff it. It's basically like you're huffing like a weird chemical.
But you know,
you
has Adam told you a story? Oh.
And then you inhale it through your nose, just the vapors of this little tiny bottle that smells kind of like a nail polish remover or something like that. And then you get like a crazy head rush. And then it kind of, the head rush goes down through your body. Your asshole just like kind of relaxes, opens up. And then you just feel like totally euphoric. And penetration feels incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so the more
But
you know.
can do, but you shouldn't really do poppers all that much because it is like
It's
you're
brain
flirting
damage.
with brain
It's
damage. And
brain
I've known
damage.
people that have gone blind from doing too many poppers. So,
Are you kidding
no,
me?
they have temporary blindness. It can
Temporary.
like cause vision problems. Like
But
it
who
is
knows?
like
Yeah.
a friend for every once in a while. I'd say once a month, do
Yeah.
poppers and get fucked in the ass or just regular fucked. But don't do maybe one bottle and then pour it down the sink.
Our friend did it once and we didn't know how to do it, so he accidentally drank it, or no, I don't know. Or he inhaled. Yeah.
He was doing it and then it just, he got hit in the head and it went in his nose and it burned down his nose and throat.
My favorite part of the story though is that he passed out, literally blacked out, came to, and then went back to the foursome.
I love that.
I'm like, honey, I love it. Never underestimate a gay's tenacity to get fucked. Literally, they're like, anyways, no worries. Like, I love it. Just like getting back into the game.
Yeah.
I love that. It's inspiring. Hashtag inspiring.
Hashtag do poppers. Hashtag don't do poppers. Hashtag do whatever you want. Should we do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
I'm sweating from that girl's babe family.
People are so lit. I love it.
I like her fat meth head brother.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's sober
maybe
now.
Her sister needs to do meth with him. Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah.
She can gain some weight.
Here's a good one. Dear Laura and Maya.
Oh, no.
Stop.
When people say
she spelled it wrong?
Yeah, people call Laura all the time, and I'm convinced it's like a mental block because actually, the assistant at That's Wonderful was saying, oh, and I'm thinking of Laura, and I'm like, it's Lara on the phone. He was like, I literally can't conceive of that. He's like, I actually can't, like, I try to say Laura, and it just says Laura.
Why people can't conceive.
But it's
justice for Lara.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know if that's a troll.
Panicking.
Or
that would happen to me. Like, if you really got hung up on it.
If you're on the phone with me, you're panicking.
Long-time listener since
Stressful.
Pumped Podcast. I just wanted to let you both know that this episode truly spoke to me as someone who has had a true dark fear of how little I have and how little I make in terms of salary. This is about our last episode entitled Shannon and Vicky.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I agree with Ryan. People need to be more honest when it comes to how the system truly is a troll. As for me, I'm a newly licensed attorney in a Midwest state. I'm desperate for a job that pays a livable salary, but I find myself in an endless loop of unsatisfied job interviews that come to the same conclusion. You need more experience. So here I am, living on an embarrassingly low salary, toiling away at this firm that's taking advantage of my situation. Every week I get a little more desperate, but I'm determined to gain the experience I lack. And there's where I think our generation differs from others. We are hard workers and want what everyone wants, but the companies and climbing the corporate ladder are truly a lull. Companies are filled with baby boomers who will never retire, so the position on the corporate ladder is forever occupied. So my millennial generation has started a new trend of transitioning from company to company, job to job, in order to gain the salaries we want. So now we're the butt of every other generation's joke. Sorry for the tangent, but I was very happy to hear you and Ryan have an honest talk about a matter which many face. I hope you both pull through these times. People like us need to have each other's back. P.S. More anal talk. I'm a believer in hashtag anal truth. I think men and women, gay and straight, need to quash the stigma about anal play. Anal is a great and wonderful experience.
Well, Jim, as someone who makes scale on Big Bang Theory, do you want to chime in?
I think that I'm really inept for this part of the conversation.
So, I hope that you get through this trying time.
I'm going to pull through my LA experience.
Yeah, I think it's going to be okay.
But I bet a lot gets taken away from you, too. I bet people would be real...
What? That's taxes and...
And agent. You have an agent? You have a manager? You have a manager?
Everything.
Lawyer? You have everything.
Everything that you can possibly have.
Everything. Yeah, so it's like...
Publicist, lawyer.
Oh, publicist. Okay.
The publicist. I forgot about
expensive.
that. Yeah, and that's expensive.
They ain't cheap.
Well,
they don't take commission either.
No, it's
you pay them. Yeah.
The thing about making a lot of money is your nut gets bigger to crack every month. Like your overhead gets really high.
More money, more problems.
I mean, it kind of, but like you have like you have people on the payroll.
Write songs about it for no reason.
Yeah.
But you have people on the payroll. It's real. You have people that you're responsible for their livelihood, and that's really a lot.
I just have one employee.
Who? Oh.
Ryan.
Are you incorporated or whatever?
No, I need to incorporate. I should have done it last year and I should have done it this year. But I think I operate from a place of total fear of like, I made a lot of money this year and last year, but I could make nothing this year. Yeah. I mean, special's not exactly bringing home the bacon. Yeah. It's like bringing home the seitan. It's like, it's bringing home the tempeh. I will say I relate to, when y'all were talking about it last week, I do relate, like, one of the reasons I feel so, for many reasons, I'm fortunate for the job I found here, but one of them is because I was not taught smart money things. I wasn't taught anything. And my parents were very responsible with their money. We didn't grow up
wealthy or something like that, but they were really good with it. But we didn't talk about it. Like one of the ways in which they were being good, like their method was, it's none of your business what I make. It's none of your business what we do with it, as long as you're taking care. Not they said that to me, but like it was not like, see how we budget for this, and every month we do this. You know, at best it would be like, you lost your retainer. Do you know how much those cost? Well, now I feel bad. Yes, but I don't feel I have a great relationship. No, that's not true. But I feel like I don't have a smart relationship with money. You
but
know?
the thing is, like the hard, like you won't have to. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's like I feel like that's my problem too. Is like I don't really need to have one until I need to have one.
Yeah,
and that's the part that scares me.
But the thing that's the most troll is when you finally need to have one, and I hope that neither of you have to go through this. I have a feeling you won't, but like when you realize, fuck, I have to like get this together and I have truly no idea what I'm doing, then it's like crisis mode because it feels like so overwhelming, and it's just like, how do I even make the first step?
When I was still in New York, I went through, literally scavenging for cigarette money, which quit smoking, but was addicted. But things like that, and it is. That's where I think if, talking about money and helping people is a good idea, because it really is, there's just very little more frightening than going, I don't know what to do. And this is done. And
every time my mom will be like, you need to stop. Like she knows me so well. She's like, you need to stop going out to $200 dinner every night. And you're like, no. And then we go to Mozart literally like last night.
With your mother?
No, me and Lara. Me and Lara.
I have a dependent on my tax form.
She's a dependent.
Claim me as a dependent.
I don't know.
If you claim me as a dependent, does that mean I don't have to pay taxes?
No.
Because I would love that.
It's a little regression to childhood. She has become accustomed to a certain lifestyle. You're not willing.
I know where my bread is buttered.
At Mozart. But what's interesting to me, what I didn't tell
every time that we eat together,
it's a write-off.
It's a write-off.
My whole life is a write-off.
Because we're business
that was
partners.
the other misnomer. Who was it that thought everything was a write-off? Was it you?
I did. I literally thought.
Both of us. Trust me, I thought the same thing. I was like, everything. This was in New York, in the doldrums. I was like, everything I do is related to work.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm in the entertainment business, and that's really all I do.
And the rude thing is, that's so not true.
Not at all.
It's not at all.
But I write off a lot of stuff.
I know, but like...
Oh, and then by the way, someone emailed me being like, you should be getting a lot of money back. And I forgot to include that I do. My tax return, I get a lot of money back. Well, like not... It's still depressing, but it's not... I will get a lot of that money back.
Yeah, people were really outraged by your taxes situation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like a complete fool. Like I have a good tax guy, and like he gets me like everything back. And I also I keep a meticulous record of like my expenses and like what I'm doing and blah, blah, blah. So it's not so bad. But one thing also that's interesting too is class anxiety within family, because like I grew up middle class, like probably like lower middle class, and my brother became rich, and then I became, I guess, rich or something at 18. I got my CP money, so I was richer than my parents overnight, which is a mind fuck, like truly bizarre, like really interesting, because I think both my mom and my dad are like kind of proudly like blue collar, as in like they kind of reject anything that could be seen as like bourgeois or anything like that. So I think that they were sort of trolled by my money situation in a weird way. Like I don't know. Like
it'd be kind of weird to, I think,
weird.
all of a sudden like that. It's and like, know how much money. I was just thinking today, weirdly, when I passed a billboard for Young Sheldon, and I looked at that little boy's face, and I was like, okay, here's a child that's like acting on like a big show, on like a network TV show, making money, and like, what if I had a child that was making all this money, and like, how would I feel weird about that.
Well, hopefully you won't steal it.
No, I know. And I thought, would I steal I was like, would I steal? I don't think you would.
I know people do, obviously.
People do.
But I do think it's hard to imagine yourself in the abstract in that. Like, I think having your own child is such, I don't have one, but from what I hear, it's such a specific thing that I think that even you can't imagine how you'd feel about that.
And like, would it cross your mind as being like, well, maybe I need just like, $1,000 or something. I'll just like take it out of Young Sheldon's account. And like, and it got me thinking. I was like, whoa. And then I was like, I'm never letting my child be a child actor.
But see, the thing is, you would also be you would in some ways, if I understand, I can imagine, would be almost employed by your child.
Yeah,
because
that's your job.
That's
your
exactly
full-time
right.
job.
You would not be able to work another job.
That's why it's complicated, because in a way you are earning money. I mean, that becomes your life, as managing this person. So you are entitled to some money.
Yeah.
So
it's just
yeah, you have to live. I mean, obviously, but so it becomes this weird.
I'll take a percentage.
But you're right. Before you said, I was like, this is exactly in Hollywood happens all the time with kid actors.
And it's just like, it's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, it is.
And very particular.
Can I hop to Botox real quick?
Yes.
It's specific to you.
Yeah.
So, was it in the very first episode, or maybe it was the second, when you had just come back from... Who gave you the free Botox?
My stepmother gave me
the first episode.
This might have been the first episode.
Either one.
It was.
The first
did we
second.
do? It was after Thanksgiving.
It was after a holiday. It was after Thanksgiving.
It was right after Thanksgiving.
Anyway, so I didn't. There was a party that you went. Both of you were there, and Todd went, but I was working.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was great.
And Todd is not a reader, which I'm not ashamed to say. I don't know.
That's okay.
He likes music. I like podcasts.
Yeah.
I like music too, but I like to listen to podcasts on the radio. On the car.
Forgiveness is something I'm practicing every day.
Yeah, you don't look too angry. So,
well, she
came home from the party, and something was being said, and he goes, Lara's even younger than I remember her. Like, I never remember how young she is. And I literally go, wow. She just had Botox. I said, why did you say that? Because I really, when I was face to face with her, I was like, God, I forget how young she is.
Wait.
I'm so young.
I love you're blowing up her spot.
I love if you become a reader, my spot's blown. But I'd like to take it back to my acting thing where people said I could play a high school student.
4 years ago.
Cast me.
Thought it was
four years ago.
Cast me as a high schooler.
It was so
J-Lo
1
in high
plus
school.
1 equals 2. It was such an ABC connection.
Yeah.
I heard you say it. He came home and said it. I was like, well, she got exactly what she was going for.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I love
That
it.
shit works.
Achieved. Goal achieved.
That's good.
I missed my Botox.
It was really funny.
I love that.
I need to go back.
idea.
I'm going back to Oklahoma soon to get.
But y'all talked about that you feel like you can't, even though you can feel it's gone, you feel like you
I still think you
see.
look
It does.
great.
It's still. It kind of does something to kind of hold things in place, even though it's, for the most part, I think totally worn off now.
Did it hurt?
It didn't hurt the first time, and then the second time, an assistant prepared it with some, because I guess you mix Botox and water, or you can mix it with another chemical, and she'd mixed it with like a saline solution, and it hurt so bad. I was like
literally
crying.
salt in the wound.
Yeah, and I was like,
God.
why does it hurt so bad this time? Like the
Wow.
last time it didn't hurt, and then it turned out that the assistant had mixed it with this other
What a
thing that
fool.
caused it to hurt. Yeah.
You should sue.
Did you know you can shoot Kybella into your...
What is Kybella?
Yeah, and you can
It's
do
a
it
stuff-
under
well, that's
here.
what it's for, I think. That's what
Yeah.
the commercials are for, but you can put it in the midsection, and it'll freeze the fat away.
Would you
ready.
ever? Would you ever get work done?
I guess never say never in that idea of like... Well, I mean, if I'm going the full spectrum, like if something were to happen, God forbid, and it was reconstructive or whatever. But as far as like, I don't know.
You mean you wouldn't just let your face be smashed in?
No, you're like, well, I'm going to be really brave right now and tell you the truth. If something actually fucked up happened to my face, I would fix it. I would.
Okay, all right.
You're brave.
Fair enough.
Sure.
We're brave.
Total babe
You're
moment.
brave.
I honestly don't know.
You won't need it, TBH. You're
everybody.
You're like 10 years behind.
but
How old are you?
everybody-
40? 39?
44.
Oh!
But you start, you
Lol.
like the fountain of youth is
Honey,
happening.
I'll be 45 in a
I don't know
week and a
whose
half.
blood
It's
you had
that
to suck.
Vino and Olay, apparently.
But I don't know. I don't know.
You
I don't
start
know.
to notice, like, the thing about the Botox was I did that, and then I immediately started to notice, like, mouth lines. And then I was like, well, okay, now I would love some filler. So, and I can just see
It's a
how
slippery slope.
eventually it just starts to be like, well, I can just fix this thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like for myself, I've always been really obsessed with plastic surgery and so into, like, just what can be done and very also conscious about, like, vain, but also conscious about how I look. So I don't think I would ever get to a point where I would be like the cat lady Jocelyn Wildenstein.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would not.
I wouldn't get work done.
You would too.
No, I don't
You've
think so.
said to me that you would.
No. I
You don't think so?
Why do you come here to lie? Why do you bring us to this table?
Let's assuming you're telling the truth for a second.
Because I think it looks weird on men, TBH.
Well,
I mean, maybe it's that gendered. I don't know. But like I look at like Jeff Lewis on Bravo and it scares me. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, those lips and that he can't move his face.
I do feel like all of our perceptions have changed, and it could continue to change. Even I'm sure it will in some ways, but I do feel like a lot of things that back in 1992, say that you saw when somebody was getting things done. I'm sure that the procedures have changed too, where they do quote unquote better work.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of it is that we have become accustomed to, well, that's what a woman or sometimes a man in their whatever age looks like. And it's like, not by nature.
No.
That's just what we've gotten used to.
I think
now.
plastic surgery and filters and social media, I think we've literally forgotten like what people are supposed to look like in real life. I think it's like, it's bizarre. Like, I don't think we know how to like process what a face even is supposed to look like now. It's weird. I don't know.
And there's certain actresses, or as they age, it's like, I found myself being like, oh, has this woman gotten plastic surgery? Is that why she looks weird? And then you realize she probably hasn't gotten any, and that's why it looks like she has. It's like bizarre.
My face is having a renaissance right now.
Your face, you're in a hot period.
Yeah,
what's happening?
I don't know. I honestly can't.
It's the glasses.
I saw a friend that I hadn't seen in like a year, but yesterday, and she goes, "You look really good," and I'm like, I know.
I think it's the glasses. And I think it's you washing your face.
Oh, stop it.
I think it is. Do you still wash your face?
Well, yeah, but here's the deal. So when I went really ham on my skincare, like literally, I actually was breaking out, and now all I do is I use cleanser and moisturizer. That's it. And my skin, I feel like the more you fuck with it, the more you risk getting it irritated.
I do think there's certainly a matter of truth to that.
So keep it simple.
I do. I think that's true.
But you go through periods with looks, and I'm just hoping this one lasts a while.
I've been using that Natura Bissé, that like insanely expensive skincare that like
a reader
my
sent you,
friend
right?
Kate sent us, and then I stole yours.
You stole mine.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
I love it. It's actually changed my life, and I don't know how I'm going to ever be able to downgrade now. So I'm going to just need it to keep coming, or be like a spokesperson for them or something. But John Mayer uses it, and he loves it. And so now I feel,
your skin looks
on
incredible.
Instagram, but
yeah. John Mayer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care about him.
Yeah, I know.
Are you going to talk about Andy Cohen this week or no?
No, I'm not. Well, no, I can't. That's complicated.
Yeah,
he's your boss in a way, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Lara got really scared.
I did.
Lara got really, because he's like gay mafia. He's literally gay mafia.
Well, she and I are both adjacent to him. I mean, like we do things associated with. I don't know why you were so interested in taking him down.
Yeah.
Well, because I think someone has to. Because I think.
Why?
Well,
what have he done? He's
a reader actually
so much
emailed.
He has.
Yeah.
I think.
And a reader emailed us about this, and I was like, I'm not reading because I'm not opening up.
What is it?
I'm not opening up.
Andy,
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay, fine.
What is it?
I'll let you bury yourself, Andy, if you're listening.
I know. Literally, the
disagree.
house just starts shaking. I lose all my jobs, all my opportunities.
Have you met him?
No. You did watch What Happens Live as a bartender.
Yeah. But he was a little dead inside. He's a little dead. He's lightly dead inside.
We got reader mail.
I think in order to be where he is, you have to be slightly dead inside.
Another person. Okay, at the risk of angering the gay mafia / endangering Laura's professional process. Who is Laura?
So they're really spelling it wrong.
They're spelling it wrong. Okay. Readers, come on. I trusted you.
They think it's Lara. They think the other spelling will be Lara.
That's fine though. I love when people call me Lara.
Okay.
I do. I went on a date with a guy that kept calling me Lara, and I didn't correct him.
Why?
Because I like it.
It was kinky.
I like it.
It was kinky.
Oh my God.
It's foreplay. Like, what else will you mispronounce?
You can get my name wrong that way, but not that way.
Lara is the Lara. So as long as you're staying in the Lara family, I'm fine. Okay. But once you go to Laura, I'm like, you're dead to me.
What does this say? Yeah. What does this say?
I'm hoping you could both expand a bit on the darkness of Andy Cohen. Me expand? I don't feel it. Ryan's observation that he has internalized homophobia feels true. What gay watches baseball? But that's not part of it. His lack of it, as Ryan called it, kindness, also seems evident. I met him once at the Samsung store in the meatpacking district. Dark. And now I know... truly know the sensation of being invisible. If his image as an affable gay is false, why does it persist? And where does his darkness come from?
Well, Jen, can I be
supposed to be on a meet and greet every time he's in the Soho?
Jen, can I be candid? When I did Watch What Happens Live when I was the bartender, I basically didn't exist until he was like, well, he goes, what do you have coming up? And I'm like, well, actually, my book's being adapted into a show. It's being produced by Jim Parsons. And literally it was like going from invisible to him seeing me. And it's like, like, I mean, everyone has experienced this being around celebrity, like when they decide to see you, like you're literally like, you're invisible until you're not. And the second I said your name, it was like, ding, 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 ding. And he just started treating me like way different. And
We've
he was
really
like,
come full circle in this podcast.
We have come full circle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what
I'm just saying, I'm disassociating from reality.
She's taking a rocket ship out of here. It's not safe. It's not safe for me.
All I can tell you is all of my interactions with him have been
famous.
positive. Okay, fine.
You know,
and okay, you can have that opinion. They have been. I have so many friends in common.
Yeah.
That I didn't know that we were going to have in common. People that I love.
Yeah.
Love him and get along.
I love his.
And I don't know him well, so I can't go more than that. But I just felt it needed a little bit of balance, and she's too scared to say anything about it.
Well, we have common friends, and I would like to be on Watch What Happens Live someday.
I mean, the reality is like, I think he's a self-admitted like starfucker. He loves celebrity. That's his whole thing.
I think he's
like,
transparent about that, which is why it doesn't bother me as much. It would bother me more if he was like, I'm down to earth. I don't care about that.
But also,
hits the nail on the head.
It speaks to like my insecurity, where like I want to be accepted by him. I want him to see me, and I'm just not famous enough.
Famous.
I'm not famous enough for him.
Maybe this is a you problem, not an Andy problem.
I think treating only caring about famous people is definitely an Andy Cohen problem. It's not a great problem to have.
Well, I feel bad for having brought it up in a way.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, again, I will like.
I've just made us go too long.
I'm
sure. Sorry.
I'll lose this apartment. I'm sure I'll be like, I'll be evicted. I'll be evicted. He's gonna take a SWAT team to take me out.
My career takes off.
He'll relocate. She'll be
take this in turn. Want to go to Mozart? Sorry, I'm going with Andy. You're not invited.
Oh my god! If you became friends with Andy Cohen, I would kill myself. Literally, I like would.
Why?
Because I would like. How am I going to compete with Andy?
Never say never. I'm like, it's fine. The friendships are different to me. I hold you both in different regards. We do different things. Men. We like different things. We have different passions. Andy and I could go see the Grateful Dead. He's also a deadhead, which when you're a deadhead to me, I'm like, you're in. I don't give a shit.
And like I said last time, he's certainly dead. All right.
On that note, we gotta go.
Yeah, we do.
We gotta go. It's time to. I'm done.
I'm sorry.
This has been.
Jim, thank you for
being our first guest.
I imagine they'll only go up from here, but you never know. So
it's gonna. It was so good, and
thank you for championing the brand and being an avid reader.
I get behind things I believe in.
Yeah, of course. You gotta find something to believe in. If it's not Babe, I don't know what it is. All right.
Write us emails, babepodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website, babepodcast.com.
Yeah, and watch my show special when it airs 2040. Actually, I think in that Samsung store in the Meatpacking District.
It streams
Isn't that
when
it's Isn't that premiering at the Samsung store in the Meatpacking District? The one that, I think that's when it's coming out.
An actress will be acting in the project. So I'm very excited about that.
Hopefully know how to.
Hopefully Ryan will act.
You know what I did in my first session?
Hopefully she was like, my Amelia Earhart biopic.
No, you're Amelie. You're Amelie Earhart.
They just found her bones, they think.
Yeah.
So
well, honey,
someone's gonna write something soon.
I'm ready.
They're always finding her bones. I think every year they find her bones.
Yeah.
One thing from the first session that my acting coach said to me is I would say a line, but I would go like sighing, like my character was. She's like, "Do not sigh." She goes, "That's a bad acting thing. Do not sigh." And I was like, shook. And then I never sighed again.
Yeah, you need someone to point out those little things.
Do you sigh, Jim? I don't think you sigh.
I mean, when the moment calls for it or I feel it, yes.
My
I think making
coach,
human noises is smart on camera. And
my acting coach said never make a sigh.
Never sigh.
Sometimes a sigh will be appropriate, right?
Yeah, well, if it calls for a sigh, but not every time.
I don't know how many of them you were doing. I mean, if you're doing it every line, I can see that and give her a real conniption fit.
Hey, Ryan, how are you? Okay.
No wonder she had an emergency surgery.
A tour de force.
She sounds like my therapist. She sounds adjacent to my therapist who said, just do one thing. I stopped seeing that. I was done.
I know. I heard. What one thing were you picking? The potty?
The potty's the first to go.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
All right. We're done here.
Yeah,
We're done.
I think 3 sighs will bring us out.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.